As you know, the Ukrainian army has put great pressure on Russian troops on the Crimean peninsula with the attacks it has carried out in recent days. The pressure has burned out the Russian troops considerably. There are also some other events apart from this pressure. It seems that the Ukrainian army will launch a major operation to liberate the Crimean peninsula. As you will remember, in the past days, an important base of the Russian army on the Crimean peninsula was hit by Storm Shadow missiles fired by the Ukrainian army. During these attacks, some of the senior Russian commanders and soldiers lost their lives and some were injured. The air of panic created by the attack continued. So, what are the latest developments in the Crimean peninsula? Let's take a look at the developments together. For more content on Russia-Ukraine war, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. I would also appreciate it if you support me and my team by using the super thanks button located at the bottom of the video. Let's start if you're ready. The Pioneer reports. As you know, in recent days, the Ukrainian army has carried out successive attacks on the Crimean peninsula. The main targets of these attacks were the headquarters, which are of great importance for the Russian army. These headquarters contained a large number of Russian soldiers and equipment needed by the Russian army. In addition, these headquarters were the headquarters where the Russian army was both managed and supported. In addition, the port of Sevastopol, which has a very important strategic importance in the occupation of Ukraine by the Russian army, and the Russian Black Sea fleet in the port were also targeted. In recent attacks caused a great panic in the Russian occupation administration in the region. The Crimean Russian occupation power, which took immediate action, contacted the administration of the Russian Federation and ensured that a very critical decision was taken. According to the latest reports, the Russian administration has banned entry and exit to the Crimean peninsula for security reasons. No one, including Russian citizens, can now enter or leave the Crimean peninsula. This decision, taken by the administration of the Russian Federation, has caused a great shock all over the world. According to the allegations, the Russian administration took such a decision because it could not ensure the safety of the Russian citizens settled in the Crimean peninsula. Russian sources also claim that the Russian army will launch an attack on the Ukrainian troops through the Crimean peninsula. However, there is no confirmed reports on this issue yet. I don't think this claim is true either. Because in recent days, the Ukrainian army has dealt heavy blows to Russian troops on the Crimean peninsula. In addition, the Russian naval forces, which want to use the strategic importance of the Crimean peninsula and the Black Sea, have also suffered heavy damage. We can say that during the attacks of Ukrainian troops, the Black Sea fleet of the Russian army was sort of out of the war. After the Russian administration took measures regarding the Crimean peninsula, a statement came from Ukraine. In these statements, Ukrainian officials asked Ukrainians living in the Crimean peninsula to leave the region. According to military experts, this is a harbinger of a new military operations to be organized by the Ukrainian army against the Crimean peninsula. Many sources are reporting that Ukrainians living in the Crimean peninsula have left the region following Ukraine's call. However, these reports have not yet been confirmed. However, looking at these developments, it seems possible to claim that the end of an era has come. So, how will the Ukrainian army be able to carry out these attacks on the Crimean peninsula? Let's talk about the theories. For the time being, I think that the safest routes for the Ukrainian army to launch an offensive to liberate Crimean peninsula is an attack through the port of Sevastopol. As you may recall, in past month, the personnel of the main intelligence directorate of the Ukrainian army carried out a landing on the Crimean peninsula. This landing was not noticed by the Russian defense forces for a long time. Later, Ukrainian main intelligence directorate personnel clashed with Russian troops as they left the peninsula. During these clashes, a large number of Russian soldiers were also destroyed. If the navy of the Ukrainian army is further strengthened, a landing operation supported by naval forces seems to be the most realistic strategy that the Ukrainian army can implement on this moment. In addition, I would like to point out that an operation launched from the sea will provide a great advantage to the Ukrainian army thanks to the damage caused by the Ukrainian army to the Russian navy at many points, especially the Russian naval forces anchored in Sevastopol harbor in recent days. Of course, this operation cannot be carried out only with naval forces. In order for the Ukrainian army to achieve a decisive success, it must carry out an operation involving this air force. Another scenario is an attack involving only the air force and ground forces. In this offensive scenario, Ukrainian troops would launch an attack on the Crimean peninsula from the northwestern direction. This attack would probably start from the Kherson region. We can say that this attack would last longer than the sea attack scenario, because there is a long distance from Kherson to Crimean peninsula. There are many Russian defense lines that Ukrainian troops have to overcome until they reach the Crimean peninsula. However, as you know, the defense lines of the Russian army in this region were withdrawn some time ago. For example, the Dragon's Teeth defense line was also used in this region. However, this defense line was destroyed up to the entrance of the Crimean peninsula. Perhaps we can talk about the rapid progress of a land operation here. However, I think it will not be effective as a landing operation supported by the naval forces. Another possibility is that the Ukrainian army will advance further on the Zaporizhia front line and attack on the Crimean peninsula as part of the master plan. As you know, the Ukrainian army is trying to create a line by breaking through the Zaporizhia front line. Thanks to this line, it is aimed to divide the Russian troops into two. In this scenario, we can say that the attacks of the Ukrainian army will take longer, because in order to succeed in this scenario, the Ukrainian army must first reach the Azov Sea. At the same time, if Ukrainian troops launch an attack here, they will have to fight in the wider area. In this case, the striking forces will not be able to focus on the single point. This can both save time for the Russian army and give an advantage over the Ukrainian army. The Crimean Peninsula is becoming more and more active day by day. The Russian administration has brought a peace proposal to the agenda after the recent days. The Russian administration has brought a peace proposal to the agenda after the recent losses. However, it is not possible to implement this peace offer, because the Russian administration does not leave the occupied territories, including the Crimean Peninsula. The Russian administration, which is trying to disturb the territorial integrity of Ukraine, continues this endeavor despite all reactions. The Ukrainian army, on the other hand, is determined. The Ukrainian army, which is fighting to protect the territorial integrity of Ukraine, is resisting the Russian army with great determination. So what do you think? What do you think the calls to the Crimean Peninsula mean? Will Ukraine launch an operation to the Crimean Peninsula? Do you think this operation can be successful? What strategy do you think the Ukrainian army will apply? Mention it in the comments. I'm reading and caring about all your comments.